You guys have got it right. And why not do both if you can, right? Do the intermittent fasting and your exercise routine of a cardio and high intensity method.
Absolutely. Right. And that will ensure that you eat a hearty breakfast and you'll keep up that cycle of 2 meals a day. Because if you wake up in the morning and you're not all that hungry, well, you can certainly exercise and see if that helps.
There you go.
And, as we age, after age 30, our metabolism starts to go down if we're not doing anything about it, if we're not lifting weights, if we're not moving. So that's the beauty of the weight training, the cardiovascular training, is that your basal metabolic rate is going to go up. So what does that mean? It means that you're going to be burning fat at rest when you're just talking on your phone, when you're sitting there on the couch reading the paper or a book. And that's really what we want. That's what we want. So it's easier to not put on weight or to maintain your weight. Right. The key to remember that. Lean muscle tissue is your furnace. Fat tissue does not burn calories. Lean muscle tissue does. So the more we can get into the gym and do some building, our body will burn for us. And as we age, it won't become a problem, because we know obesity is becoming a problem and the diseases that result from obesity. And so the truth is only about 18% of Americans get the recommended amount of exercise that they need per week. We need 150 minutes of exercise per week. And anything less than that is deficiency. Anything less than that is not acceptable. We live in a society where we can drive anywhere. We can even have people buy our groceries for us and take it out to our car. This is hurting us. The conveniences are great, but if we're not purposely pursuing an active lifestyle, it will come back and bite us.
There's no doubt about that. And all the research supports that. You get such major health benefits out of exercise: mental health, physical health, of course, disease risk reduction, lifespan. But also, you just said 150 minutes. That's only 30 minutes, 5 days a week. That's a 30-minute walk 5 days a week, and 2 days you don't go for a walk. That's setting the bar quite low, I think, 150 minutes. How about also when you're not doing an exercise period where it's like, this is my 30 minutes to exercise. If you are just counting steps and you're trying to move a lot, and I'm moving extra, or maybe I'm already moving enough with the way that I already live, what's a recommended number of steps per day where you don't necessarily have to be going out of your way to do a whole lot of formal exercise? I know the weight training and the stretching and the rebounding has its own benefits, but just as far as a base level amount of motion in your body, is it like 10,000 steps a day?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question, because I've heard different ones. And I don't actually know the exact answer for that, Scott. It is nice to keep a tracker. I have a tracker that measures my steps, and I may not do a specific workout that day, but I can see how active have I been. And I can tell in my muscles, I haven't moved very much today because my step count is low. But I think the good benefit of having a step count is it gives you that awareness. How active have I been? What are the results saying? What is the objective evidence here? And then I think that really will promote progress in fitness as we realize, I could step it up a notch. I'm going to try to get to 14,000 steps today instead of 10. I'm going to try to get to 3,000 steps today instead of 500.
Yeah. And, it also motivates you to do it more in terms of while you're doing something else. Like, I work a lot on my device, on my phone. And instead of sitting on the couch or sitting in a chair working, I'm like, why am I not just walking outside, pacing in the yard, or just going for a walk in the neighborhood while I do this? So I'm getting more fresh air, sunlight, exercise, all while getting work done. So you can multitask. Maybe people like to listen to a book, and you can go for a walk while listening to a book, listening to the Word of God. The Bible is on audio, all over the place. So, trying to combine these things, and then we're not having to, sacrifice so much time for exercise in and of itself, but it's exercise while doing other things is another way to do that. But I know a lot of people have time. You could turn off the show. You could take 30 minutes instead of sitting and watching that segment of that Netflix video, and instead turn on Aaron and Lauren and their opening routine and do that 10 minutes, and then get on the rebounder. And then what else are you going to show us here with the show us the stretchy bands? Because a lot of people don't have a membership to a weight to a fitness center where they're, pumping iron with all the machines and all that, or they don't have the dumbbells. And what can you do with these, easy to store little stretchy bands?
Okay, we're going to put the band on like we're putting on a pair of pants, Scott. These are called Thera bands, and they're pretty accessible. You can find them even at Walmart. You can find them at TJ Maxx, and it's just a little mini band that you can use for a couple different things. You can see that we have them right above the knee, and let's say you want to improve your squat pattern. Many people's glutes. A lot of people have what's called glute amnesia, meaning that the glute muscles are not firing as they should, mainly because we sit too much. And so what happens in a squat is that the knees start to buckle in with the squat. But with the band, it's a nice reminder. It's a physical reminder that we really need to spread our legs. And that will, in turn, fire the right muscles here of the hips and the glutes. Wow, and it feels really, it feels good to me. I like resistance. This band is pretty tight. You can get some resistance bands that are easier than others, but it really gives you that resistance without having to hold weight. Maybe you have wrist problems or problems with your fingers holding weights. So this is a great option for anyone who has those issues, or for someone who's just looking to avoid the knee buckling issue when they're squatting, because that can be a big problem. A dysfunctional movement pattern can add more problems, even if you're trying to do something good, right? So these things are almost physical therapy. Physical therapists use them, of course, but we have to give ourselves physical therapy. We have to make sure that we're activating our muscles properly. You can, in addition to the squat, you can do another exercise called the band walk, where you maintain this distance between your feet. You maintain that shoulder width distance, and you start to travel left to right. So I'm just taking small steps to the left and then to the right, maintaining that distance. It's actually quite challenging because naturally the legs are going to want to come together. So we're still maintaining that neutral spine. Although it looks kind of funny, it's very, very effective for stronger glutes. When you have stronger glutes, your lower back is going to be a lot happier. So that's a good place to start if you're very sedentary, is strengthening the glutes with that exercise.